You're listening to an African Elements top news story for March 30th, 2025. Please visit our website at africanelements.org for more daily news. CA police wheelchair shooting. Double amputee lawsuit, 2025 police shooting, double amputee, a tragic encounter by Darius Spearman. The story of Anthony Lowe Jr. is heartbreaking and raises serious questions. He was a 36-year-old black man facing immense challenges. Recently, he had lost both his legs. He used a wheelchair to get around. Yet, his life ended tragically during an encounter with Huntington Park police in California. Details emerging from the incident paint a disturbing picture. Reports and video footage suggest a violent confrontation. It culminated in Lowe being shot multiple times by officers. For our community, this is another painful reminder of lethal interactions between law enforcement and black individuals, particularly those living with disabilities or mental health challenges. Indeed, understanding what happened requires looking closely at the facts. The critical moments of the encounter were captured on video. Cell phone and surveillance footage show officers interacting with Anthony Lowe. He was in his wheelchair. The footage reveals officers pulling Lowe's wheelchair out from under him. This action caused him to collapse onto the pavement. After falling, Lowe appeared to swing a large butcher knife toward the officers. The situation escalated rapidly from there. Lowe attempted to move away from the officers after being thrown to the ground. According to his family's lawsuit, filed in 2025, officers then shot him 11 times. The lawsuit alleges this constitutes excessive force. Furthermore, surveillance footage appears to show Lowe moving away, not advancing, when shots were fired. This visual evidence fuels intense debate about the necessity of lethal force in this situation. The police interaction with Anthony Lowe did not happen in a vacuum. Officers were initially responding to a report involving Lowe. He was suspected of stabbing a pedestrian just minutes before the fatal confrontation. This prior incident likely shaped the officers' approach and perception of threat. Before resorting to firearms, officers attempted other methods to subdue Lowe. They deployed tasers twice. However, these attempts were deemed ineffective. The available information doesn't specify why the tasers failed. Consequently, officers transitioned to using lethal force. This sequence raises questions about de-escalation tactics and the availability of other non-lethal options considered by the officers. Anthony Lowe's physical condition is central to this tragedy. He had lost both legs just 4 months prior and did not have prosthetics. This severe disability inherently limited his mobility and speed. It raises profound questions about the level of threat he posed. Could a man without legs, even one holding a knife, truly present an imminent danger requiring 11 gunshots? Many argue his physical disadvantages significantly reduced any immediate threat. Adding another layer, Lowe's family and experts suggest he was experiencing a mental health crisis. This crisis was linked to the trauma of his recent amputations and associated depression. Interactions between police and individuals in mental distress, especially those with disabilities, are fraught with risk. Behaviors arising from crisis or disability, like lack of eye contact or unusual movements, can be misinterpreted as threats. This tragically increases the likelihood of force being used. The concept of proportionality is key here. Legal standards dictate that the force used by officers must match the severity of the threat. Deadly force is reserved only for situations involving an immediate threat of serious harm or death. Considering Lowe's disability and potential mental state, the officer's actions, throwing him from his chair and firing 11 times, demand scrutiny under this principle. Therefore, the question remains whether the force used was proportional to the actual danger Lowe presented. The killing of Anthony Lowe sent shockwaves through the community and beyond. Video evidence played a crucial role in bringing public attention to the case. Footage showing Lowe moving away from officers before they fired raised serious doubts about their justification for using deadly force. This footage became central to the narrative questioning the officers' actions. In response, Lowe's family filed a civil lawsuit in 2025. The lawsuit alleges that the officers used unlawful and excessive force, leading to his wrongful death. Importantly, a judge has allowed the case to proceed. This decision permits further investigation into the officers' conduct. Consequently, the legal process will now examine the evidence, including the videos and officer testimonies, to determine if constitutional rights were violated and if excessive force was indeed used against a disabled man in crisis. This case highlights ongoing concerns about police interactions with black individuals and those with disabilities. It underscores the need for better training and de-escalation, crisis intervention, and recognizing behaviors associated with disabilities. As the lawsuit progresses, many hope it brings not only accountability but also meaningful changes in policing practices. Ultimately, the outcome will be watched closely by communities demanding justice and reform. Copyright African Elements.